What is easy to stock up on is gold. And gold is a store of value. It has historic relationships to all these other commodities. So if you're worried about a big increase in prices because of the valuation of money and you want to protect your long-term purchasing power, you would be buying gold. So gold should be reacting even faster than other commodities. And so it hasn't thus far, but I think it will.
I know what you're thinking. I'm going to say it for you. Gold hasn't risen because what Bitcoin has risen, right? Is that the other answer that you were thinking, or no?
Well, I don't know how much buying that might have gone into gold went into Bitcoin instead.
Yeah.
I think it's, very little, as far as the size of the gold market. Maybe it's significant to the Bitcoin market, but I think it's kind of irrelevant to the gold market. What I do think may be happening, though, with the Bitcoin story, which is centered on, but to the extent that some people that really don't understand what gold is, who maybe are in the institutional space, maybe they would be buying gold. But because they believe that maybe gold's future is being impacted by Bitcoin and that, well, maybe gold won't go up because Bitcoin will steal its thunder, it's possible that some institutions that otherwise might be buying gold maybe are not doing it. I don't think they're buying Bitcoin either, but to the extent that they think Bitcoin may replace gold, it may be a reason why they're not buying gold. And so maybe they're buying some other commodity, or maybe they're buying stocks or something else. But ultimately, Bitcoin is going to collapse, and any demand that it might have siphoned away from gold is going to return to gold. I mean, the Bitcoin story, it's one of a bubble. It's, a modern day Tulip Mania. It's fool's gold. I've said that from the beginning. It doesn't matter that the price has gone up. I mean, I've never said that the bubble couldn't get bigger or that the price couldn't rise. My only point is that the price is unsustainable because Bitcoin itself has no value. It has no use. Yes, if people believe the price is going to go up and they're willing to buy it, well, the price will go up. But it only goes up if more people make the same mistake and are willing to pay an even higher price than the last fool. Well, eventually the supply of fools runs out and the greatest fool ends up as the bag holder. And maybe we're very close to that point right now. I don't know. I mean, I'm not clairvoyant, but I know a bubble when I see one. I got plenty of experience. And if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, and Bitcoin is the biggest duck of them all.
What if I told you this bubble is just going to keep getting bigger? Would you participate?
Well, it's hard to participate in a bubble when you know it's a bubble. Because if you don't know, well, then you can buy. But the problem is you never know when the bubble is going to pop. So it's difficult. There probably are. I mean, I think there are two types of people that are in Bitcoin.
What if I paid you? What if I said, here's a bunch of Bitcoin, can you manage it for me? You're a fund manager. Can you manage my Bitcoin? Would you participate then?
I would be tempted just to sell it as soon as I had it. So it's like, as I said, I think there are two kinds of people that are in Bitcoin. There are the people who don't know it's a bubble and don't know it's worthless. And then there are the people who do know, but they don't care because, the price is going up and they figure they're going to get out before the bottom drops out. But I think that's a lot harder to do. I mean, people think that they could get out, but I think most people are going to be trapped. I think when it finally collapses, it's going to be very quick. And the market has been conditioned, right? Every time Bitcoin drops in the past, it comes back, right? So they've convinced the hodlers to close their eyes and turn out the FUD. And so Bitcoin crashes and it comes back, and it crashes and it comes back. So people now expect that every time it crashes, it's going to come back. So what happens when it crashes and then it doesn't come back? It crashes again and then crashes again. But people are stuck holding and hoping. Ultimately, that's what's going to happen. I mean, all the money that people make in Bitcoin is simply going to be a function of the money other people lose. There is no actual value being created by Bitcoin. You can only make the money that other people lose. That's the nature of a Ponzi or a pyramid. And that's exactly what this is. It's got characteristics of both rolled into one.
Yeah, well, okay, so you tweeted something very interesting recently, which I didn't know before, because everybody I talked to have told me that institutional money has been going into Bitcoin, and that's one of the primary reasons why the price has gone up. And I don't know if you agree or disagree with this.
Well, I think some institutional money has gone in. Obviously, there's been a couple of hedge funds that have gotten involved, and a couple of companies are involved. But as a percentage of all the institutions that are out there, it's tiny. But I think that it is being blown out of proportion, certainly by the Bitcoin community that wants to highlight this to try to help drive this narrative that all the institutions are coming and so you better buy, right? They're trying to pump it up. I think CNBC in particular, because I think they've been bought and paid for by Grayscale, which is their largest advertiser. And so I think their coverage is completely one-sided and biased, and they're trying to spin this false narrative that all these institutions are buying into it in order to, to pump up the price. So I think the people who are in can get out. I mean, that is one of the things that if you are big into Bitcoin, you need to make a lot of noise. You need to be very public about the fact that you own it, and you have to keep touting it because you need to get more people in, because that's the only way that the price will go up. I mean, a stock could go up because the company does well, because their earnings are going up, because they increase their dividends, or a commodity could go up if there's more demand for that particular commodity because it's needed for something in particular. Like silver, let's say there's more demand in the automotive industry, or now maybe, in some certain businesses now need it more, or maybe there hasn't been as much mined. So there are different things that can happen with supply and demand. But Bitcoin, it doesn't generate any earnings. It's not used for anything. So the only demand comes from speculators. And so everybody who owns it has a built-in incentive to try to encourage more people to enter the market as a speculator. So everybody that owns it has to talk their book, and they have to attract in new people to buy, because that's the only way they can sell.
My final comment on Bitcoin, and we'll move on to something else. Doesn't that, what you just said, doesn't that simplify the equation for you? Because if all it is a demand-driven product, and you know that there's a big number of people, like a large community of people who would almost religiously buy into this product, that's all you need. That's a bull case right there, isn't it? Because they're not going away anytime soon.
Well, it depends. They're buying into a dream. It's a myth that you're going to get rich simply by hodling Bitcoin. Now, yes, people who did buy Bitcoin early on and rode it all the way up, they did get rich. The people that get in early are the ones that get in rich.
Yeah.
It's the people that get in late that enable those riches that get out poor. Now, there are a lot of people that think that buying now is still buying early. This is preposterous. Anybody who thinks they're getting in on the ground floor or anywhere near the ground floor, everybody knows about Bitcoin. Everybody's talking about Bitcoin. So you're not stumbling in on something brand new when you're buying it now. I mean, in fact, I was watching on the CNBC yesterday, and just about every single anchor all day was convinced you got to buy. You can't lose. Even if the price goes down, it'll come back up. It's a no-brainer. Buy it. You're all going to get rich. So this is how bubbles end. This is not how they begin. We're much closer to the top than the bottom, not only in price probably, but in time. I mean, this is like a parabolic. Look at that move up that we've had, right? I mean, this is not a sustainable move. There's never been a market that's moved up like this that hasn't come crashing down, including Bitcoin. Look what happened to Bitcoin in 2017. It went way up, and then it was down 70% in 2018.